Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Again, it's Johnson John Talks. Here's another day for a fresh conversation. And what exactly are we talking about today? Being a business consultant, leadership coach, I've spoken to people over the years about business, right, and what it's about. And then I recently thought about the missing piece, and that's what I want us to consider today. And that missing piece is nation building. Now, the funny thing here is we teach people that business is solving problems or meeting needs and making profit in the process. But then it's incomplete. Because what it should be is solving problems or meeting needs, making profit, and building the nation. Now, I'll detail all of this. Let's take, for example, you live in an environment where there is challenge with power supply, electricity, and then you see the need to start a business, what we call pay charge. And so people pay to charge their devices with you. Let's say you have about 200 sockets and people pay 200 naira to charge each device. Approximately, that will give you about 40,000 naira daily, which in about 30 days, that's if you work for 30 days, will be about 1.2 million naira. And of course, maybe you have one or two employees. Now, the question is, if you are this person, would you want that environment to start experiencing consistent power supply, which will take you out of business? And what will be the expectation of those employees? Do they want to go out of business? Do they want to lose their jobs? Of course, no. Now, the funny thing is, it may not seem much of a problem until we try to consider how this same mentality has affected Nigeria or our nation or Africa, as it were, or how the very idea that is just about profit making and meeting needs. Let's take, for instance, this same mentality is responsible for the many humans who have died in several hospitals, resulting from this idea that until certain financial commitment is made, the person cannot be attended to, regardless of how critical the person's situation or condition is. Because the idea behind that business, that hospital, that establishment is meeting needs and making profit. There's no nation building in it, right? And then the same mentality here is responsible for that senator who you and I would want to insult and say, yeah, their allowance is too much. Let them cut down on their allowance, and you expect them to pass such a bill to law. And when they don't, you'd want to say they are selfish, they are greedy, they are wicked. But come to think of it, their idea of being in politics is being there and making profit. It's not about nation building. So they would not want to cut down on their expense or lose their business or lose some money just to ensure that the nation goes forward. So that's what we're talking about today. And it's a very serious problem. Somehow, we get to realize that the leaders are not the problem. Each and every one of us is a problem. Our mindset is the problem. It's not about leadership. It's not about the people in office, right? Because if you look at it very critically, you realize that we are all from the same fabric. We are all from the same material. We all think in the same way. And that's why we all end up doing the same thing. You wonder why police officers, rather than going to a place where drugs are being sold, I mean hard drugs, they'd rather stay by the road and arrest young people who are caught with hard drugs and extort money from them. They don't want to stop people from selling hard drugs because they know that if they stop these people, they won't make as much money as they're making. So they want people to keep buying hard drugs so they can get them and extort them. You get it. So it's just about meeting needs, making profit, and that's a problem. You have to infuse nation building into every single part of our system. If Nigeria has to be great again, you have to revisit the subject of nation building. Thank you.